One thing you should know about me is I love Jew. I love the Jewish people. I am not Jewish. I have no affiliation to Judaism. I'm literally just a fan because I'm not somebody who blames my problems on less than 0.2% of the population, 15 million people. I can actually look at this group of 15 million people and go, wow, historically, they have always punched above their weight. They've always disproportionately contributed to society at higher rates than the general population. And I don't really like the general population. I'm not a fan of Gen Pop. But I am a fan of the Jews. And I think there's a lot that we should learn from this population because they have historically been some of the most persecuted people in the world throughout all of history, and they have always come back stronger. And it turns out there's a lot of stats that support this that I'm going to get into. But I'm just saying, I think that as a population, we should look at people that outperform the Gen Pop and say, what are they doing right instead of demonizing them? Because envy is ugly and jealousy leads to brain rot. And you guys are all looking pretty ugly and jealous. And it's a low IQ, low EQ thing to do, to blame the Jewish population, to blame less than 0.2% of the population for the world's problems. But let's get into some stats. Since the Holocaust, 27% of all Nobel Prizes have been awarded to Jews, despite making up 0.2% of the population. Historically, Jewish communities have maintained a near 100% literacy rate. That's insane. 60% of Jewish adults have a college degree or higher, and that's compared to 31% of the general U.S. population. Again, not a fan of Gen Pop. 30% of the world's chess champions have been Jewish. Forbes' 400 richest Americans as of 2023, 35% of them are Jewish. The top 10 U.S. tech companies per market cap, well, 40% of them were founded or co-founded by a Jewish person. They filed patents at way higher rates. During the 20th century, they contributed to 15 to 20% of all major innovations in electronics and computing. Jewish people have developed or co-developed 50% of the most impactful 20th century medical innovations per a 2011 study in the Journal of American Medical Associations, including chemotherapy. Tel Aviv is the startup capital of the world. They file more patents than any other country per capita. Have a higher household median income in the U.S. and a lower poverty rate than the national average. Jewish Americans also donate at higher rates and account for 20 to 25% of major U.S. charitable giving. They do less crime. Jewish individuals in America were arrested at about half the expected rate as the rest of the general population. So they're contributing to the economy at higher rates. They're not committing crimes, and yet everybody hates them. They say that, oh, they're controlling the media, then why is there so much bad press about them? This is a group of people that we need to learn from. We need to look at ourselves honestly and say, why aren't we performing at their rates? Instead of just blaming 15 million people for our problems, it's distracting us from our real enemy. It's distracting us from our own problems. And it's a sure sign of regression in civilization. Every single time society becomes obsessed with hating the Jews because they're doing better, because they're jealous and get brain rot, we regress as a society because it's a distraction. So don't partake in this low IQ, low EQ behavior. Take some personal accountability in your life, the way the Jewish population does.